But so glad you're here. I hope that you will be transparent in the questions that you need to ask so that they have an opportunity to answer the questions that you are very concerned about.
Thank you, Supervisor Anderson. We really do appreciate it. And good evening to everybody.
Hello.
Good to see you. I hope you can hear me okay. Can you hear me all right? Okay, good. We really appreciate you coming out. So it's 7:09. Okay, we're going to be adjourning at 7:15. So we get the hard questions out, as fast as we can. No, it's good to see you tonight, and I really do appreciate you coming out. We all do. It's important that we have conversations. We came up with a clever, kind of a title, Conversations with the Chief, but we really want to do just that, just have a conversation, get to know you a little bit, and have you get to know us. We do a lot of communicating through social media and the tools that we have available to reach, thousands of people. But it's just important that we have these types of discussions and these types of talks where we can meet face to face and see what's on your mind. Whatever is important to you is important to us. That's how we look at it. There's something that you want to tell us tonight. We want to hear from you. If you have questions, we certainly try to do the best we can in answering your questions. And I'll tell you something that we don't mind tough questions. We appreciate all questions. And if you have a question that is, something on your mind that you want to talk about, we welcome, those opportunities to have that kind of dialogue. And of course, if there's any kind of an issue or concern that you have that you want to talk to me about, kind of one-on-one after tonight, you certainly can reach me and we'll talk when we're done here, or you can reach out to me, in the days ahead. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I don't shy away from giving out my contact information and my cell phone number and things like that. So it's good to be here. So I'm going to just talk for a few minutes, but this is really about you being able to ask us questions. So I'm not going to, we're not going to dominate the time that we have here together, which is very valuable and very limited. But I do want to just say that we're honored that you came out. There's a lot of places you could be tonight. I pulled up, there's a softball game going on down the hill, and I hope they get in. Looked like there was a little threat of rain. So there's a lot of places you could be tonight, but you've taken the time to come here and meet with us, and that means a lot. It really does. That means a lot. So let me just share with you a few things that are going on, and then we'll kind of take your questions. We're standing in what we call the Central District, and I don't know where y'all are from specifically. If you live nearby, or if you're from down the road a little bit, other end of the county, another county. We're glad to have you. But we, for police purposes, we divide the county into, have divided the county into 3 districts, and so this is the Central District that we're standing in. We have the Eastern District, Central District, Western District. And the reason I'm kind of talking about that a little bit here for just a minute is because due to the great support of the community, of the citizens, of the Board of Supervisors, we have a Central District station that's under construction over on Davis Ford Road. And that station will open probably November-ish, and it will be serving this area. This is part of the Central District. So while we certainly don't, we're out in the community. If you live in this corridor, you're always welcome to come by, and once we get there, and say hello to us. Today, the Central District is actually operating. We have officers that make up the Central District, and on April 29th, we'll be fully operational working the Central District, which is really transparent to you and to other citizens. But I just, since you're here, I want to share that with you. We're currently operating out of the Garfield Police Station, which most of you, I suspect, are very familiar with. And we'll continue to do that until the station opens in November. And we're very excited about it, as you can imagine, and I hope that you are excited about it. because that's your police station. That's how we feel about it. That's your police station. We thank you for your support. And when it does open, we'll certainly, coordinate with all the stakeholders to have a nice opening and a ribbon cutting and tour and a lot of police equipment on display, that sort of thing. So sometime in November is when it'll open, and when the ceremony will be, I'm not sure, but we'll certainly make it available to you, to come by and take a look and take a peek and see what's been under construction over there. There's a fire station under construction too. That'll probably open up a little sooner than the police station, probably this summer sometime. And it's kind of an interesting concept. It's the first for the county to have a fire station and a police station together out in the same complex, working police, working fire station, same complex, same piece of property. We trained together at Nokesville, out at our police/fire academy. So we do that together. We've done that for many years. It's a win-win for the community, win-win for the first responders to have that access. But I tell you, this is going to be a unique concept, and I will use those same words. I think it's going to be very good for the community, and we're going to be very proud of it. So that's the Central Station. I want to introduce Jim Carr. Jim, could you just come up here for just a moment? I appreciate it. So Captain Jim Carr, is the Central District Commander, and right now you may feel like you're part construction supervisor commander.
Yes.
Has
New title.
New title, and the captain spends a lot of time over at the station and whatnot. So Jim, I'd like to say hello for a moment. That'd be great.
I am so pleased to be here this evening with each and every one of you. I see some familiar faces, and some of the things that we're going to be doing in the future, it'll be a first. I guarantee you'll be so pleased with the construction that's going on. And this construction that's going on is based upon a lot of the input that you gave us when we were in the design phase. So that's what I just wanted to say. I'm happy. Can't wait to get in there.
Thank you. So you'll see him a lot. If you live in the Central District and you want to have a community meeting, you have an issue, you can always call me. That goes without saying, but Captain Carr will be the commander in this area, in this Central District. He is today. And of course, you'll see more of him when that station opens. So that's a pretty exciting thing that's happening here close by to you. Other things that are going on within the police department, we are very pleased to be receiving some additional staff from the community. We thank you very much for that. That's always something that we look forward to. And the community members and the citizens and the board have always been very supportive of our staffing requirements and staffing needs, and we're appreciative of that, very thankful for that. So I want to just spend like 1 minute and tell you my theory on staffing, and I understand staffing to some degree. So what we try to do, is put officers and put police staff on issues that we think put the community most at risk. That's how we evaluate things. That's how we do things. So if we identify a need or requirement or a risk, we put officers on it. Or just the daily grind of things, where there is a risk activity, we put officers on it. So we focus, you have 600 plus police officers. How do you decide, where to put them and what they do? That's kind of where we start. What in Prince William County puts the citizens, puts the community, puts the residents most at risk? And then we go from there. We assign officers based on that. That's kind of where we start. And sometimes we reassess. We'll see officers who, we're thinking, why are we doing that? Let's redeploy those folks over here to an activity that helps keep the community safe. And we're always reassessing and adjusting where necessary to make sure that we have people doing the right things to help out in that regard. So we're very excited about that, and we look forward to talking to you more about that. So that's how we deploy our officers. That's how they're deployed here in the Central District. I want to talk to you about trust, about building trust. That's one reason we're here tonight. As the supervisor said, we do have a fine reputation. And we're proud of that. We want you to be proud of us. and we work hard to find good people, to train them up, give them good supervision, and then repeat that. Find good people, train them up, good supervision, train some more. You know, we go through a lot of training, all of us do, and it's just, you know, very important that we're doing the right thing by you, and that requires good people with good training, and it also requires trust. So the supervisor talked, you know, mentioned the survey, and that's absolutely true. And it has been for quite some time. We get good feedback from people across really many backgrounds. And we don't do this survey, you know, the county hires someone to do it every couple of years. And they do all kinds of county services are surveyed, including, you know, the police department. And we ask questions about attitudes and behaviors. That's one of the questions. What do you think about the police department's attitudes and behaviors? And we usually get good comments on that. But we also recognize that every single contact is important that we have with the community. Not just, you know, the ones tomorrow, the ones the next day, the ones from yesterday. But right now, we have officers that are, I can assure you, in and around Old Bridge Road. And they're going to be having contact with citizens as we speak, as we sit here. And we want those contacts to be positive. We want to do our job professionally and deliver performance that you are proud of, and that lets you know that you have a very professional police department. And that's important to us. So building trust is why we're here tonight. That's really the overarching reason, to continue to share our ideas with you and build that trust with you. When we hire people, we talk about honesty and integrity. I meet with them. That's the kind of the final part of the process. And then that's one of our values, of course. And then another value that I speak with them directly about is fair and impartial policing. Everybody gets to hear what I have to say about that. And I basically articulate, of course, you know, these folks are just getting into the career. That some of them are familiar with that term, some of them are not. But basically it just means treating all people with dignity and respect. That's just fairly simple definition. So, and you know, we are a very diverse community, from the river to the mountains, and you know, we do have some mountains way out there in Kmart. They're not real big, but we claim them as mountains here in the county. And it's important that we do everything we can to treat all people of whatever background, race, ethnicity, faith, occupation, language. You know, we don't want to judge, prejudge, or make decisions, our enforcement or police decisions, based on anything but the facts. You know, what are the facts, what are the circumstances that we're learning through our investigations, through our questioning, and then do the right thing based on the facts and not based on other factors that can lead to bias-based policing. It's important that we make right decisions. So they hear that from us, from me, when they are hired. We tell them that's the expectation, that's what we expect. You'll learn more about that at the police academy, and good luck to you, you know, and we go from there. And of course, like all of us, when people get a job, they're very excited, so we hope they're listening, but I realize that, you know, some they want to get that phone and call mom and dad and tell them they got a job. And that's understandable. But that is just a core value of who we are and what we do. So to help with that, we train, we hire good people, and quite frankly, when we stub our toe, and we do because we're human beings, we take corrective action. That may be mentoring, that may be some guidance or some additional training, no different than perhaps where you work, or you know, what the type of place that you may have worked in your career, and as you have evolved, you know, gone about our lives. And maybe they have to apply some, you know, level of discipline if it's required. And once in a while, unfortunately, you know, we have to help people find other opportunities for work. So it's just always important that people that work for us understand the type of policing that we want to deliver. So that's important to us. That's important to us. So I've talked a little bit about our facilities, our staff, and our equipment and technology is kind of the last piece, and then we'll take some questions and why we're here, trust. We do everything we can to be contemporary in our policies and our procedures. in our facilities. I mentioned the station under construction briefly. We have a pretty, you know, I don't like using the word state-of-the-art, but a pretty progressive police academy that we share with the fire department out there in Noakesville. Nice, fairly new, contemporary EVOC training center for vehicles and things of that nature. We try to have policies that are current and contemporary. We attend networking opportunities with our peers from other places. You know, we stayed up on current events. We know that what happens in the western part of the country can impact us here. We pay attention to that. We know what happens in the Midwest can impact us here. What happens in New England or Florida, you know, can impact us here. So we try and pay attention to current events and do what we can to adopt policies to make sure we're where we need to be in all respects and all policies. So that's a little bit about who we are and why we're here. At our core, our core mission for any police department is basically to keep our community safe, to prevent crime and to solve crime. Prevent crime and to solve crime. And you know, you can read all you want to about that, and people couch it in big words and everything, but that's basically it. And you do that through collaboration, partnerships with the community, with the stakeholders, with the people that we serve, and work together to make that happen. It must be a partnership, and we have many strategies that we deploy to try and reach that goal. But we take that very seriously. It's important to us that people feel good about who we are, you know, and what we do. But what questions do you have? Because if I keep going, I'll keep going. So I could keep going. I have a lot more to say, but I'm learning. You know, put the brakes on and start taking some questions, because you were kind enough to come. And we want this to be your time, really. And so I'm open to any questions, and you know, whatever's on your mind. And you know, I like to hear from the police officers that work for us, of course. And we have conversations and we have discussions. And you know, everybody wants to hear Bob say, "Oh, everything's wonderful, everything's perfect," you know, that kind of thing. But we know, you know, in organizations, we're always trying to get better. We're trying to become more efficient. So I always want, you know, I tell people that, you know, I'm not concerned about who the messenger is. Just tell me what we can do better, what we can do different, and let's talk about it, you know, as long as they're easy questions. Yes, sir.
So one question, you mentioned the cohabitation of the police department and the fire department at this location. What are some of the advantages of that?
What are some of the advantages of cohabitating? Well, probably something that's a little bit out of our scope of expertise would be the construction and costs. There's, you know, a big parcel of land, kind of like building a school or something. So I think there's, in terms of the construction and the design and working them together, because some of these things are only going to be done once, like driveways and parking lots and things of that nature. So I think from that perspective, I think for the county and for you, I think there's some cost savings to do it together. So once you get past that, operationally, I think it's a win-win. What's happened over the course of recent time, and I don't know when recent time it is, but this, you know, last 5 years, probably since 1999. Police and fire and police, and they're great people. We love to, you know, brag about our fire department. They're outstanding folks, and they, you know, they work very hard at what they do. So today, it is very important that we have being police, have a good understanding of how fire departments and rescue departments operate. We've always had some basic understanding of that, of course. Noakesville helps a lot, training together. But operationally, I think it's important that our officers will have, you know, some kind of probably daily contact or weekly contact with the firefighters that are in that station. They'll learn, because we respond to a lot of calls together. A lot of calls. When you call 911, you know, what is your emergency kind of thing. And as they're taking the call, they're dispatching these units to through a fire dispatcher and a police dispatcher. They're both getting the call. If it's a call that requires both assets, and those calls are being mutually dispatched at the same time. Fire units are being dispatched, police units are being dispatched, and we may arrive, contemporaneous with one another. So it's important that we learn, and we do as we get into this business, but training evolves, policies evolve, technology evolves. So it's a real win-win when we can have those conversations and networks on a frequent basis, because the high-risk calls for all of us, for the community and for the police and for the fire, those high-risk calls, you want to have experience and people that are well-trained, well-versed, and work as a team. And part of that team is not police and fire, it's sort of an integration or an integrated approach between the two disciplines. We have active shooter training together. They have a role, we have a role. We learn what is their protocol, what makes them feel comfortable in those kinds of settings. Where do we feel comfortable, where do we not feel comfortable? While we have some medical skills, and we train in that, we have trauma kits. We've saved a lot of lives in the short period of time we've had those trauma kits, and the officers are very, very well trained in the usage of those. So I think it's a win-win for the community in terms of enhancing the knowledge of each discipline with one another so that we further understand what their capabilities are, what their protocols are, and they understand ours. Yes, ma'am, you have a hand.
Yeah, it's the MS-13 games.
Yeah.
I understand that they're getting bigger in the county.
I'm sorry, what is that? MS-13 for gangs.
She asked about MS-13 getting bigger in the county.
The gangs.
We have gangs in Prince William County.
Right.
Yes. We've had gangs in Prince William County since, at least since the early 90s. I don't know how long you've been around the county here.
I went through your senior police academy.
Oh, did you? Okay, great. Appreciate your interest in that. So we've had, gangs in the county for many years, and we have a gang unit, we have gang prevention resources and things of that nature. So gang is an issue that that we address here in the police department. We work on that daily. We look for strategies to try and address any crime that they bring to the community. We have, for example, a Northern Virginia Gang Task Force that we have memberships on, and other relevant task forces. The gang situation in let's just go with Northern Virginia. We all have a certain level of gang activity throughout Northern Virginia. And so we work very closely with each other, and we have mutual, as I say, task forces that work together, both at the local level and particularly at the federal level. We work closely with our federal partners. And so it's something that we pay attention to. And I think for us to deliver to address that properly, we have to understand gang activity, which we do. We have to understand what do gangs do that put you and I at risk, and we do. And then we have to develop strategies on how to address them as best we can. And as you would suspect, as with most crime issues that we might want to talk about or address, there's multiple strategies. There's not one thing you go do and that handles it, that takes care of it. Education, enforcement, information, awareness, many strategies. So we do have gangs in Prince William County, and we do everything we can to address it. Yes, ma'am.
Last year we had quite a few murders in the county. How are we doing this year?
Yes, we did. We did have quite a few murders in the county last year. This year we have 3. We have 3 murders. So we'll go over here and knock on that. So we have 3 murders, and so we've. I'm proud that all murders, regardless of circumstances, there's no murder is more concerning or more serious than another murder. They're all very serious. They're all very concerning. Some murders are committed between people who know each other. who are acquainted with one another in some level, some way. You know, I don't mean they're best friends, but you know, they know each other. They're having some kind of association or relationship. And some murders are not. We had some of each in Prince William County last year. So the answer to your question is we've had 3. That's the answer. But I want you to know, because that gives me an opportunity to talk about our staff. You know, I know, and I've known this for a long time, because you know I've been here for a minute. But I've known for many years, as I was talking a minute ago, about finding good people, training them up, and then let them do their job. You know, let them go to work. Give them the tools. You know, the truth be known, you know, I don't do real police work. Police chiefs don't do real police work. You know what I mean? We're setting policies. We're trying to get resources. We're trying to put the pieces in the right places. You know, we're looking at maps. We do things of that nature. That's what we do. You know, policies and procedures and all that. So I've always been, you know, very impressed, great people with our staff. But 2016, really, if I needed any, and I didn't, but if I did, you know, want to understand how talented they are, and needed or were shown reinforcement about how talented they are, it was 2016. We have such talented police officers here who responded to those awful crimes, both from a patrol environment, setting up outstanding perimeters, sort of finding witnesses, you know, that we need to interview, kind of keeping them at the scene, you know, things of that nature. And that, you know, that being just something they do very well. You know, when a patrol officer rolls up on an awful crime, you know, we want to tend to victims, but we also want to try and immediately begin to figure out what happened here. And so the patrol officers are kind of the first ones that start getting involved with that. And they're just so talented. You know, I'm reading, I'm learning, I'm listening to the radio, and if I get there, it's, you know, just magnificent, excellent police work. And then you have our detectives. I want you to think about this. You know, you're at home, and you know, you have a birthday party going on. It's a special anniversary. Mom's in town. You know, mom and dad are visiting from out of state or something. And she's got the video camera running, taking all the fun times together. And then you start breaking open the, let's see, these are cops, so I don't know if it's lobster or what it might be, you know, but, or hamburgers, steak. But you're having a nice time, and all of a sudden something's happened and you're being called out. And you know, drop what you're doing and go. That's very challenging. Just think about it. Some of you may have a career in that type of environment, where you know you've got these things planned, and all of a sudden, you know, the police department's calling you saying, "We need to go. You need to go." And we're contacting, you know, through technology, we're contacting many people, you know, to respond to this thing, to respond to this heinous crime. So seeing our detectives work these homicides in 2016, I hope it's okay for me to tell you how proud I am of them, because I am. And you, more importantly, I want you to be proud of them, because they put in so many hours. They miss so many family opportunities. And they know so much. You know, when I get briefed, when they just have so much information in such a short time, and they're so organized, and they're great people working together, doing everything they can, understanding the heartache this is for the victims' families, leaving nothing No shortcuts, you know, doesn't matter. That lead over there, that's probably not going to be anything. No, we check that. That lead that we don't think is anything, we check that out too. They bring such expertise to the situation and to the investigation of these murders and other crimes too, other crimes too. But, you know, there was some focus on the murders. And I just want you to know that we have outstanding people who work these heinous crimes. The best. The best. I know, I'm police chief, so I'm going to say the best. I get it. But I've seen a lot of police work. You know, I've seen a lot of police work. I'm just, whatever that means to you. And we have the best people who have a high level of expertise, who are so committed and dedicated, who want to just keep working the day after the day, the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day, while things are still, you know, more available to them to try and solve this crime. And they're very committed, and I'm very proud of them. I want you to know how we feel about them, and I want you to be proud of them, because the really thing that I share with you is they are good people who care about what has happened, and they want to do everything they can to determine the facts, to make the appropriate arrest when necessary, and you know, to bring people to justice. So, Ashley, would you come up here for a moment? And Leon, would you come up here for a moment? Thank you. So, I want to introduce you to two supervisors of our violent crime unit who are leaders in that effort that I've been describing for a couple of minutes. So this is First Sergeant Esther Robinson, our violent crime supervisor, and this is Lieutenant Leon Black, our violent crime commander. And they can tell you a lot more about how to solve these crimes than I ever could. And would you all like to say hello? Just say hello. Hello. But these folks and the people that, and I know what they would say, because they're not going to take any credit. It's all about the detectives. And I get that, I understand that, and that's very appropriate, you know. But we have outstanding leadership who help navigate us through these heinous crimes. And these two excellent police officers are key members of that team. Thank you very much for everything you've done. And the gentleman leaning against the wall, that's Kevin Hugert. He is the Assistant Chief for CID Criminal Investigations. When I'm really confused, I call Kevin. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. So, Kevin, would you like to say hello?
Hello. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate your attention and willingness to come out and listen to us tonight. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for your question. Sorry to go on a little bit long, but I think it was important. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to know how open or how vested is Prince William County Police in the youth in the community. I know that the Juvenile Detention Center here is going to open a CPP program, which is the Community Placement Program, and it's an effort to reintegrate the youth back into the community successfully. You know that when they come out, the recidivism is high because they're going back into the same environments or they're going back into the same situations that they left, and there's no change. The transition from the Juvenile Detention Center into the community, you know. So I believe that that it takes the community to make this effort successful. And you know, the kids are your neighbors, the kids are delivering to your houses, they know where you live, you know, they go to school with your children, your grandchildren. So it would be you know, important for everyone to get involved in that. And I think that the police department has a key role, especially with the gang intervention. And, social services, they do their part as far as providing services for the children, probation as well, as the families. So if we could become a joint effort, between the detention center and the community, which is what the plan is. I wanted to know how
Yeah.
vested the police department would
Yeah.
be in that effort.
Are you familiar with, do you work out there? Or?
I'm relief work here.
Yeah.
I work primarily in Alexandria. I work
Okay.
for North Virginia Juvenile.
Well, thanks for what you do. That's not an easy chore. That's not an easy task. And people who do that have a lot of passion, care about young people. So thank you very much for what you do there. I
Chief,
appreciate that.
Could you sort of summarize that? I don't think a lot of
Yes.
people have heard.
No, I think you
Yes, well,
try thinking and talking.
I'll try.
What the basis of the question is how open is Prince William County to being involved in any community efforts as it pertains to making change in the community for our youth?
Yeah. I hope everybody hear that? And the answer is we want to be as involved and engaged as we can be. That's, we have a certain amount of resources that are geared toward youth. And we do everything we can to participate in community programs, Prince William County programs, school programs, where we have our opportunity to make a difference. I don't know if you know this, but the county schools teach criminal justice classes, and I think it's 5 high schools. I think I can name them, but there are 5 high schools. And we try and do what we can to engage with those students. We try and do what we can. We have school resource officers, I'm sure you're familiar with that. And what we need to do as a community is look for opportunities to study alternatives to incarceration for young people.
DJJ is working on that.
Yeah, I know, and that's just critical. That's just critical, evidence-based decision-making, and we participate in that. That's a yeoman's job, but I think it's an important job, an important task, an important effort. So how can we take young people who have a lot of challenges, many of them, if not all of them, they're doing, they have challenges. How can we help them work through difficult situations, them and their families, their parents? And honestly, when I say we, I really mean the community, because the police have a role. I agree, 100%. We have a role, but we are not the only ones in that effort that have a role. Many stakeholders. We can have sports leagues, and we can have conversations in the schools, which we do. We can try and divert children from the courts, and there's a method for that, and we try to do that, So,
Diversion programs.
What's that? I'm sorry?
Are there diversion programs here to keep youth out of the court system where the families can work with?
Yes, there is.
Mediate or-
There is, yeah. But I mean, typically what happens is I think the child's name is brought to the court, but there's a process where they don't go to the court. They participate in some kind of community activities and get some counseling and things like that. They never really appear in front of a judge. So we need to look for as many opportunities where we can help young people grow. And I think police officers are good role models who have a lot to offer. We try and be careful about who we hire, but we also try and be careful and do the best we can to assign people in the right areas where they have a passion, where they have interest, and also where they bring some expertise. And the school resource officers and people who work with our youth in the police department, we want to make sure that we have the right people there who do care about that. We have a strong, one example, we had a officer who kind of runs our Explorer program, for like middle school and high school kids. And he's, went to one elementary school and has started some sort of initiative in that regard, and we're going to try and do some follow-up on that. We want to do what we can to teach more subjects in schools, more teaching in schools. We had talked about gang prevention. We want to teach some level of gang prevention in schools. Education, kind of like the DARE program from, I don't know if anybody remembers the DARE program.
Which didn't start off too well.
Yeah, so we want to do, I'm not holding it out as a model, but the same schematic. I've actually had conversations with people who can help me do that. We need to strengthen our cadet program, where we go into schools and try and steer kids into our cadet program at age 18. So we need to, the community and we, the police, I honestly, I know it sounds cliche-ish and all that kind of, but young people are important to all of us. And they are our future, and we need to do everything we can to have that engagement. And we constantly have officers spending time with youth. Sometimes it's spontaneous, just, getting out of their car. Sometimes it's planned activities, but we definitely have a role in that. The program you mentioned, I need to learn more about that. And maybe you could email me something, and that would be very helpful. Yes, sir.
Yes. First of all, I'll say thank you for the great job you guys do
Thank
for
you.
us. I don't. Maybe I just want to share.
Yes.
So I want to say something about. I hear about you guys are part of the community, right? So I want to say don't lose the community trying to be part of ICE.
Part of what?
ICE.
ICE?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So I want to suggest that because I want to see I'm coming from the immigrant family, and I don't want to if I make a call to try get a help,
Yes.
to be
Yes,
safe.
yes.
I want to call the police.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
To help them. I don't want to be or hear someone not call the police because they're gonna have a how do you say
Understand?
miedo,
Fear.
right? Miedo, because you guys are part of ICE, and I want to hear that from you
Yeah.
if that's true or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. That's an important question, and I appreciate that. I don't know your background, and quite honestly, I don't need to. If you need help from the police, I encourage you to call us, if that ever becomes the case. Just like any other person in Prince William County. Because I want you to know, and I say this all over the county, and I'll give you some examples. We work for everyone. I'm your police chief. And I am the police chief for everyone who lives here, works here, resides here, comes through here, worships here, shops here, plays in our parks, whatever. And the officers who work here in the police department, we all work for you. And whether you are a citizen or you are have legal presence or you're undocumented, we work for you. And you need to feel comfortable. I want you to feel comfortable with your question in calling us if you need us. I want to have that trust with you because we need you. And you might be able to help us in ways that you and I both can't even imagine standing here tonight. But I've been doing everything I can over the last many months to continue to build trust with the immigrant community. And others, I have reached out to stakeholders in the immigrant community that I know, have known for some time. Some of them maybe not so long, but some of them very long. From the Latino community, from the Muslim community, and made sure that they know how to reach me, and who we are, what we're about. I don't know when it was, but sometime late winter or something, you know, I was at Holy Family Catholic Church. On a Sunday, I went over there, and that's heavily Latino church. And I spoke with the parishioners there following the service. You know, I had spoken to the father during the week and made arrangements to come over there, Father Creedon. And so we want to do all the outreach that we can to make people feel comfortable calling us, calling that 911. And when we respond to your need or question or issue or topic, whatever it may be, we want you to feel comfortable in knowing we're going to do the right thing. And that's our goal. In February-ish, kind of February-ish, you know, March-ish, I was getting calls and emails from all kinds of sources. People in the immigrant community, leadership around the county, things, you know. Oh, Chief, you guys are doing a checkpoint out here on this road, and this kind of thing, you know, for the immigrant community. So I said, that's impossible. You know, we just don't do that. And we don't. We don't do checkpoints. We don't participate in rallies, roundups, raids, you know, that kind of thing, to find people who may be here undocumented or do not have legal presence. You know, we don't participate in those. So, you know, I'd hang up and say, I'd say, yeah, that's just impossible. I'll call you back. That's impossible. We're not doing that. So I'll find out what is, where are they? Where did you see this? And I'll hang up and I said, we better not be doing it. I hope we're not doing that. Yeah, we better not be doing that. Of course, I knew that we weren't. I checked on it. We weren't doing it. You know, we don't participate in that. But, you know, there was some, you know, fears and concerns and things of that nature, and rumors fly and whatnot. So that's why we've been out as often as we can be to address that. Now, you know, I believe in transparency and telling the whole story. That's why I talk too much, because I tell the whole story. So we do have a policy. If you're arrested in Prince William County for a crime, anybody, doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, what your background is, we arrest you and take you to the jail. We are going to do an immigration inquiry on you. Everybody. If you're arrested for a crime, and that's an important distinction, and then the jail does a pretty full-blown immigration inquiry on everybody that enters the jail over there. And we've been doing that for many years. But in terms of contact with you, you know, I hope you will call us if you need us. ICE. So nobody needs a lesson on ICE, but I'll try and give you a 3-minute lesson on ICE. So ICE is, those are federal law enforcement officers, and they have an office up in Fairfax that covers Prince William County. It covers Northern Virginia, it covers Prince William County. So ICE people have been coming out here for years. You know, they come out here to find people, they have warrants to arrest people and things like that. And so there's nothing new about ICE law enforcement officers coming out to Prince William County. They've been doing that forever, you know, for many years. But of course, with high-profile conversations around America, you know, their activities have a higher profile. You know, what are they doing? Why are they here? Why are they there? And I get calls, oh, they're staking out Latino markets. They're, you know, staking out this place and this place where they suspect undocumented immigrants may go, you know, something like that. So I talk to ICE a lot. You know, I know people at ICE. I pick up the phone, I call them, I ask them stuff. Are you doing this? What's going on? You know, kind of thing. So, and I think it's important that I have that direct connection with them too, so I can learn the facts quickly and separate, you know, facts from fiction, and take some action if I need to, or if I don't need to, you know, if I have to do something. So ICE is divided into 2 parts. Every ICE office, you know, has 2 parts. One is Homeland Security investigations, and those are detectives who work on very critical issues that we would all support. Child exploitation, human trafficking, narcotics, gangs, cybercrime. They do a lot of very critical investigations, and on occasion we work with them on those types of cases because we have similar cases, and we may have similar suspects. So we work with them. Then there's the other side of the house, which is enforcement and removal. And those folks basically go out and find people and take them to immigration court. And, you know, that's their role. So, you know, that's what I would say about ICE and what I would say about our role with ICE. So we have a relationship with them on the investigation side as necessary, as needed. But if they would call up and say, hey, we're going to go, round up these people over here in this area, or these people over here in this area, and we need some, we're not going to participate in that unless there's more to it that I need to learn or understand, But they have a mission, and they have and that they're sworn to do, And we have a mission as your local police department, and we do the best we can to make sure that we're doing right by the people that live here in Prince William County. So I hope that helps a little bit. And I'm glad to talk to you more about it. Yes, ma'am.
So I just have a quick follow-up clarification question.
Yeah.
Questions. So currently Prince William County is not, there's no 287G agreement with the
Is Prince William County 287G is the question? So 287G is a federal program. That number comes from a program established many years ago in the ICE world, the ICE bureaucracy, Homeland Security. And basically, it's a term that law enforcement and many others close to law enforcement use when they talk about a program that sort of deputizes, if you will, local police or state police to be ICE officers. That's what that is. So you go through training, fill out applications, go through training, that kind of thing. And once you complete the training, you pretty much have federal authority to act as an ICE agent or an ICE officer. You can arrest people who are undocumented. Today, I can tell you, Prince William County police officers, we don't have authority to arrest people for being here in an undocumented status. Now, if they committed a crime, we're going to arrest them, a local crime or state crime, like we would anybody else. But if I, happen to have a conversation with somebody, oh, you're undocumented, you don't have legal presence, I don't have the authority to arrest that person. But an ICE person does. So that's what 287G is. It's a program, it's sort of a force multiplier, if you will, for ICE to incorporate local and state police as having immigration enforcement authority. We can talk more about it. That's what it is. So, yes, in 2007, 2008, the county police was asked to participate in a 287G program and basically required to do so. So we did that for about 7 through 12, I guess that's 5 years we did that. We had a small number of like 7 people. And we went through the training and whatnot, and then they had that kind of authority I'm talking about. That authority expired in December 31, 2012. It was not renewed by the federal government, so they informed us of that. So it expired December 31, 2012. So we haven't had anybody in 287 since that time. The jail, the Adult Detention Center, which is not part of the police department, does have 287G authority. They have, they have a couple dozen people probably who've been through the training. So when we drop off a prisoner there, they screen everyone. And if you, I don't know if I should say you do make it through the screening or you don't make it through the screening, but if they screen everybody comes in, it doesn't matter who they are, they screen everybody. And then if they think more is needed based on what they learn about you, then the 287G ICE certified correctional officers will then conduct an ICE screening on you. They have access to ICE computers and the whole thing. So that happens at the jail. We are not 287G. That help?
Yes. Is there a plan to continue or to, in the future, send officers to participate in 287G?
There's no plans that I'm aware of. No, there's no plans. No I think, if you're going to do it, and that's a question that, others have to decide kind of thing, but I think I have some role in talking about it. Personally, I think the jail is, if you're going to do it, I think the jail is the place for it. Because we've arrested folks and we've taken them to the jail, and I think that's the place, if you're going to do it, I think that's the place for it. And I've, like I said, we have 5 or so years of experience with 287G. And there's some value to it, from a law enforcement, there can be some value to it, quick access to information. But when we call ICE today, if these folks and other folks and detectives and officers need information from ICE because we're conducting a criminal investigation, they're going to help us. We don't need to be 287 for that. They're going to help us. They're going to, hey, we're looking for this guy. Do you can you help us with this? Do you have any background on him? Do you know where you might find him? Whatever it is. They're going to help us with that. What else? Yes, sir.
Similar follow-up with that line of questions.
Yeah.
So, my family actually has lived in Manassas Park since early 2000s.
Yes.
Actually was around that time whenever the Prince William County Police Department was acting as ICE agents, right? And so I can speak basically from behalf of the community that there is still a lot of trust issues that is still existing up till now, right? And recently, for example, we're with a group called La Colectiva. We're a collaborative in Northern Virginia that's led by Latinx people. And recently we had a Know Your Rights workshop in Manassas Park with over 150 people. And the questions that came up around the lack of trust with police in the area, particularly with Prince William Police, they were very real, right? So I'd like to hear about, in regards to the program 287G, we definitely call on you to stand against the program and any efforts to expand that in Prince William County, right? And as long as with the supervisor as well, right? To make sure to resist any efforts, especially coming from the federal level, right? And then we also call on the county to end the 287G program at the county jail, because many of our families, many of our community members have been impacted by these practices that have disproportionately affected communities of color and immigrant communities, right? And so that's why we're here today, right, to ask you what efforts you are doing, like can we count on you to commit to resist any efforts to expand 287G, and what other efforts are you doing to really build trust with the community, especially, for example, Spanish-speaking communities, right? How can are you doing efforts to enhance efforts that are done in Spanish, for example, right? To
do what now?
Efforts that are done in Spanish, for example, or in other languages, right? That are really inclusive.
Yeah, appreciate the question. There are no plans that I'm aware of for 287 in the police department. That's kind of the question was over here. That's the same answer. Same question, same answer. I've been trying to build trust and working to build trust. And you're talking about the immigrant. Are we narrowly talking about the Latino community?
And communities of color in general,
I'm
too.
not sure I understand the question.
Yeah.
So I've been, as I said, I've been doing everything I can to help build that trust for many months, basically since I was appointed. I've spent all summer trying to talk with whoever I can visit with at places of faith. I've been to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to talk with folks there. I have reached out to community leaders in the Latino or immigrant community, other immigrant communities. I know how to reach them. They know how to reach me. When something happens, as I mentioned earlier, anywhere in America, doesn't matter where it happens, I reach out to who I think is the appropriate, leaders that might, letting them know I'm aware of that event. Let me know if there's something we need to do here. If I need to come talk to someone, I'm available to do that, the next day, because I understand it's a small world, and things that happen, I don't want to name a state, but if things happen in state X, Y, Z, they impact Prince William County. It's just not, we all of us could get on a plane, we could be in California in a couple hours, So they impact Prince William County. So I'm very aware of that. I'm very sensitive to that. Well, gee, that's out there. That's this state, that's that city. Well, we are a very diverse community, very diverse community. In terms of Latino, our Latino population is about 22%, just depends on, what census you read, that sort of thing. So we have brochures in Spanish. We have brochures that I have some in my car. I'm not sure exactly what brochures we have out there tonight, but I have brochures I carry in my car, what to do if you're stopped by the police. I have them in English, I have them in Spanish, and occasionally when I just bump into people, I just give them out. But I try to have that because that's a question we've gotten a lot, so we developed a brochure, what to do if you're stopped by the police. So we make yeoman's efforts to engage immigrant communities. I've been to the mosque many times. We just do what we can. We just do what we can. We try and use social media. Let me talk about diversity. We do everything. Police department, I'll tell you where we have work to do. And I've talked about this many times. One thing about when you have an issue, you need to address it. I believe in that. You need to talk about it. So in Prince William County, we have. I'm very familiar with the demographics of Prince William County, and I'm very familiar with the demographics of the police department, and they don't match up. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but basically the bottom line is they don't match up. So we, police department, need to do everything we can to reflect the community. And it's probably never going to be perfect. Who knows? I don't know. But we need to do everything we can to reflect the community. So we work very hard at enhancing our diversity. Excuse me. And we deploy, a lot of strategies. I'm always looking for ideas because our diversity is not where it needs to be, quite honestly. So I think it's powerful for everyone has their own perspective on how powerful it is and how much it means. But it's important that we do have appropriate representation of all demographics that live in Prince William County. And we take every opportunity to recruit, and I'm going to put in a plug. It's easy to find how to apply. Tell your friends to apply online, call me, whatever the case may be. We look for young people, but really we look for people, anyone of any age who would be qualified here. Recently, we participated in a noble exercise, a national organization for black law enforcement executives, and they put on a stop, don't stop exercise every now and again, and we always participate in those. In fact, there's some folks here in the room that were with me a month ago or so over here at a local church on a Saturday morning, and of course you have people of color attending these events, and while the purpose is to put on an exercise about what to do if you're stopped by the police, it's also a good opportunity to recruit people and talk about people and talk about recruiting and whatnot. And so I often get phone calls and emails from people. Chief, here's a name and number of a young person who's really interested, and I pass it on. So it's important that we do everything we can. So we work on it, and you have to sustain it. There's no one way to do outreach. We have to have many tools, many strategies. Whenever there's any kind of an issue that might involve immigrant communities, where there's concern, I want to be there. I do everything I can to be there, to talk with people, to answer questions and to address concerns. And I know about concerns. I know about trust. The question, I know there's been trust issues, and that we need to continue as a police department, as a community, to work on those. And as I said maybe an hour ago, that's one reason we're here tonight. And we did a chat with the chief, if you let me use that term, at Westgate Elementary a few months ago, which is western part of the county, and it's heavily Latino. And pretty much everyone there, we did it all in Spanish pretty much. And I had Lieutenant Castilla was there that night, and others did a lot of translation, and just the whole room probably more people than we have here tonight, a little bit. You know, we did pretty much the Q&A and everything in Spanish, and we're always looking for those opportunities. I was at as I mentioned earlier, I was at Holy Family Catholic Church, and I had two Hispanic officers with me, and they had volunteered to come with me. And so I was in there, and I started talking. You know, the father introduced me, and I just said, "Good morning, good to see everybody." I started talking, and then I would, you know, pause, and the officers would translate, and then I started talking again. And then I saw, you know, I was trying to be clever, you know, just trying to say hello to people, say some smart, clever kind of things. And so I saw people, you know, laughing a little bit, chuckling a little bit. And so I realized, okay, I see. I said, and thanks for helping me remember that there's a lot of bilingual people in the room this afternoon, isn't there? And everybody went, yeah. I said, okay. I said, all right, but we continued. So I talked, and you know, and but we continued with the translation. But it was just a good time there. So we understand the question, and we address it every single way we can. I recently went to a COG summit. Well, that's not a summit. No. COG meeting on a Friday afternoon 3 or 4 weeks ago, where immigration was talked about with leaders from Maryland and leaders from Virginia. So it's, you know, it's important to us to have those discussions and conversations, and we welcome those. Yes, sir.
I hate to belabor the point, but I guess I want to get clarification as far as if 287G were to expand, because I understand that at the moment, you know, you're going out to the community trying to assure them that your officers are not themselves checking for status and not arresting someone for status. But considering the current climate that we're in, that it could be changing, we know that the president has issued orders saying that he wants to expand 287G. And that issue of representation not only is reflected with the police department, but also in the board of supervisors that we know has never had a person of color on it and isn't up for re-election until 2019. And they were the ones who originally put in place 287G. I guess what I want to get clarification on is sort of your stance on, let's say the Board of Supervisors says, all right, Trump has come to us, he said that he's going to give us this amount of money in order to expand 287G, in order for your officers to be able to be trained and work as immigration officers. What is your stance on that?
Well, I thought I answered that, but maybe I'm not answering it. I think it's the third time I've been asked this, which is okay. I think the best, if you're going to do it,
yes.
If you're going to do it, and that's a big, you know, that's kind of a question. The question, if you're going to do it, I think it should be in the jail. That's my answer. It should be in the jail. That's my answer.
So if the Board of Supervisors come to you and say that we
my counsel and advice to them,
yes,
is it should be in the jail.
And if they say that's nice, but you have to do this, would you follow those orders?
Let me tell you a little bit about police work, if I may. Is that all right?
No, go ahead.
Okay. We do what we can to provide, and I have a role in that, to provide the best counsel we can, the best guidance we can, and explain ourselves to all policymakers and to the citizens as best we can. Offer counsel and advice and why, and answer questions and let people ponder it, and then we come back and have another meeting and talk some more, you know, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, if we are directed to do something, and you can disagree with it, but if you're directed to do something, we, the police department, that is legal, within the authority of the directing body, the authorizing body, you know, and is permitted under law, and all, you know, everybody says, oh yeah, this, you know, it's permitted under law, this kind of thing. We're going to do it.
And is that how you would present it to the Latino community afterwards?
I can't deal with hypotheticals, but so much. I really can't. But you wanted to know if we were asked to do it. I would give my best counsel. But if someone determined who I answered to, you know, directed us to do it, and everybody was on board, and we went back to like 07, 08 kind of a thing, you know, and we're directed to do it, then I'm going to, unless I think there's some real legal issues with it or something like that, you know, whatever the issues may be, and I think we would have probably navigated through all those by the time we got to a decision, to be honest with you. We're going to follow the policies that are established. This is what we do in police work. So if the legislature in Richmond passes a law, I don't ignore those laws. I may not always agree with them, but I'm not in that level. There's, you know what I mean? I have a lot of authority. I have a lot of influence. I can give my counsel and my advice. And people do call me. People do ask me things, but if I say I think we should have this, and I think that's a crazy law, and well, thanks, Chief, we appreciate it, and they pass it. You know what I mean? And it's something that the police are engaged to enforce. I'm going to see that we enforce this. That's how it works. That's the system we have. And I'm not going to not enforce that law. I'm going to enforce it. And because that's just how we work here. I believe that's our system of government. So if the board or other policymakers directed us to do that, and they heard my comments and everything, and they wanted to do that kind of a thing, then we're going to proceed. That's just how I feel about it. There are policymakers, and then there are people who carry out that policy. I can maybe have a role in influencing policy, but at that level, that kind of a thing, if I'm directed by the proper authority, which would be the county executive, I work directly for the county executive. I was directed by the county executive or the board to do something that was legal, and everything's been done the proper way. You can disagree with the policy, but as a chief of police, I'm going to follow that policy. And if some citizen would call me, and say, what do you think about 287? I'm going to tell them the same answer. That if you're going to do it, it belongs in the jail. I don't believe the county police should do it, and here's why. So that's my answer. But if we were required to do it, I'm sure you're with me. If we're, in terms of the logic, if we're required to do it, we're going to do it. And we're going to do it with the following tenets, the same ones we used before. We're going to do it in a fair, lawful, and reasonable manner. We're going to treat people with dignity and respect like we do out here every night in Prince William County. That's our goal. Once in a while we stub our toe. I'm not naive, Maybe we weren't nice to someone on a traffic stop. Maybe we were less than professional on a traffic stop. I know those things happen. I understand that. And we address those when they come to my attention. But if we were engaged to do 287, we're going to carry it out in a legal, lawful, professional manner, reasonable manner, fair manner. We're not going to participate in bias-based policing. We're not going to participate in racial profiling. We would train our officers up again on how we're going to implement this program, what it does and what it doesn't do, what are the rules. Here's the golden rules, here's the cardinal rules. But if the question is, as police chief, when I'm directed by legal authority to engage in a program that is within the legal authority of that board to direct me to do so, I'm going to do it. But that's the question. Because that's just how I think it works. Somebody has to be in charge. The officers, they give these folks here and many others, 600 of them, they give me counsel. Hey, what do you think about this policy? Chief, that's awful. Okay, appreciate it. 2 days later, I issue the memo. You know what I mean? You know what they're going to do? They're going to follow that policy. I gave them a chance to opine, a chance to weigh in on it, a chance to decide, Chief, we think this is good, we think this is bad, we think you should change this, change that. Thanks for letting us take a look at it. And I said, this is really interesting. I like all the points they made. They make a lot of sense to me. Don't make any changes, go ahead and issue the policy. I might choose to listen to some of it or not to listen to it. The moment I issue that policy, under my name, my authority, they're going to follow that policy. That doesn't mean we can't revisit it. They might, see me in the station and like, Chief, can we talk about that? Sure, of course we can. What's up? Can we revisit that thing? It just ain't working, this kind of thing. So we'll talk about it. But that's how it works. And so, I don't know what else I could say. other than I give my best counsel. But if people who have the authority direct me to, provide a program, I'm going to do that. That's just how I work. That's how I operate. I salute, I follow it, I do the best I can. But I'm also going to do it with a fair, reasonable, and lawful manner. I'm going to select, let's say 5 people, last time it was 7. I'm going to select people who I know have good, strong communication skills, who may be immigrants themselves, and from an immigrant background, a recent immigrant background who might speak multiple languages. We'll look at the skills we should bring to bear. And train them up as best we can, and then monitor it. It's important that we have audits and monitor kind of situations in place, to make sure we're doing the right thing under the program. So that's the best I can answer that.
Would there be boards of residents that?
I'm sorry?
Would there be a board of, people that live here that could be a part of those?
I don't know. It's too hypothetical. Nobody's asked me about that. No policymaker has asked me about that, or has approached me about that. You know what I mean? That hadn't happened. So I can only go so far in talking about hypotheticals. I've tried to be as candid with you as I can. I think if you're going to do it, you should be in the jail. I would ask for my best counsel, why that's where it should be. If you're going to do it, but if people direct me to do it who have that authority, like any policy that they pass, any law that they pass, I'm going to follow it. And if I really am bugged by it, I'll talk to them about it in the days ahead, you know what I mean, in the time ahead. But that's how it works. I can't pick and choose. Gee, they passed 20 laws, is that right? Well, guess what? I'm only going to enforce 2 of them. I think the other 18 are crazy. I'm not enforcing those, and I've told my officers, don't even do that. Don't worry about that. That's not our role. Our role is to deliver fair and impartial policing in a manner that people are proud of us, and to enforce the laws of the Commonwealth in a fair, impartial manner with reason and compassion for people. And that's what we would do if we were going to implement a 287G program. And I know that may not be all you want to hear, but that's, I'm trying to be as honest and candid with you as I can, which is why we're here tonight. So that's 3 questions on that. I hope I'm clear on that question I made. Yes, ma'am.
2-part on the mental health issue.
Mental health?
Mental health.
Okay.
In screening for officers for employment, what is the process, or what are you doing to counteract any?
Yeah, thank you for that.
Who may have some mental health issues?
Yes, thank you for that. Mental health, hiring of officers, what do we do? Well, when we screen police officers, we do a complete background. I mean, it takes a long time to get hired here because we do a very in-depth background on people who come work for us. Because before they wear this blue shirt, we want to be sure we know as much about them as we possibly can. No one has a crystal ball, you know what I mean? You do the best you can, hire the best people, and see and go. So part of that process is we do a psychological evaluation. All officers go through the hiring process, have a psychological done. There's a report produced. I see that, and that's part of the background process. And then we proceed from there. We have had some difficult times in the police department over the last 5 years with complex policing, and with we've had 2 officers killed, in the line of duty. So we have recently, with the assistance of the community and with the support of the board, including, of course, Supervisor Anderson, and your tax dollars, thank you very much, we've opened up a public safety resiliency center. And this is a place where police officers and firefighters can contact, and if they need to talk to someone about something that's traumatic in their lives, they can do that. And we're very proud of that. Police work and public safety in general, I'm a police chief, so I talk about police work. Police work is tough work, and it's tough, it's complex, and that's another 2-hour speech, but it's complex work for many, many reasons. We ask our officers today to do things that I was never asked to do. And I wonder sometimes, are they well equipped? Are they equipped enough? Are we asking them to do too much? Whatever the case may be. So part of the support that we need to do for our first responders and for our police officers is, good training, good schedules, good support from the community, good support from the board, everything. And that includes mental health services when needed. We have people, officers, detectives, staff, that see traumatic situations almost daily. So when you combine frequency with severity of a traumatic situation, whatever it might be, there's many I could talk about, and they investigate or they respond to traumatic situations that are very, very traumatic for any human being to be involved with. And then they have a high volume of frequency of repeating that, and then they have high severity in terms of the level of complexity of the situation they're responding to. That's tough. So I'm very happy that we have this resource for them, and it's an important resource. Mental health and first responders is an issue that we need to continue to address, and Prince William County is doing a very strong effort to continue to have services available to our first responders, and I think that's outstanding.
And in dealing with mental health clients in the community.
Yeah.
Our officers being trained, maybe in trauma.
Yes.
Trauma
Yes.
informed.
Yes. Officers being trained to deal with mental health people in the community. Yes, they are. We have crisis intervention teams. We have over 120 officers that are trained in that. They have extensive training. They wear little tags, little badges. We have people who have learned of this resource in the community, and when they call 911, they don't ask for them by name necessarily, but they'll ask, can you send a CIT officer? My son is causing some issues, my daughter, my uncle, my dad, whatever. And they've learned that term, and because the officers have specialized training to try to deal with people who are facing a mental health crisis. So it's, we do have that, and we're very proud of that. Need to do more, but we do have a very strong program. It's 8:30. I want to take 1 or 2 questions more. Yes, sir.
Hi, Chief. I live in my community. I love my neighborhood, active. I want to make sure that my neighborhood's safe and secure. What can I do as a regular citizen to be a part of that?
Well, let's see here. Kim, what can they do to become a part of that? See, this is, before you shut off, this is Officer Kim Sawicki with our Crime Prevention Bureau, and I know she will talk and has things to say.
Hi,
Answer that question.
Hi everybody. One of the things that you can do to keep your community safer is start a neighborhood watch in your community. I do have information over there, but Neighborhood Watch is a very simple program. You just look out for each other. If you see something suspicious, you call the police so we can go and take action with it. We do have every month we have a meeting being held. It goes throughout the county. This month was over at McCourt. The next one coming up is May 2nd, and that will be over at the Western District Station in Manassas. If you can't make that one, we're going to have one in June, and that one will be in Palazzo down in Woodbridge. So there's multiple opportunities to get a watch started in your community. There is brochures over there that talk about Neighborhood Watch program. And on the back, if you have any questions, I'm actually the crime prevention officer for the Central District. So my area is Lake Ridge and Dale City. You can always give me a shout. You can call the number on the back of every brochure. It will say Crime Prevention Unit. If you call that number, then you will get our admin who will transfer you to me. And I'd be happy to answer any questions of Neighborhood Watch. We have Worship Watch for those that participate with the House of Worship, you can start a program there, and we have training next month as well, on May 17th, and the flyers over there as well. But Neighborhood Watch, I think, is the best way to get your community together, your neighbors involved, and start looking for suspicious activity, and calling us. The big thing is calling us to get us out there and take care of the problem.
Kim, you participate in, recently, I don't know, all of these panhandlers that are hitting on the corners of all the...
There's a whole community, homeless community.
Yeah, they stand out in the roads and whatnot, and it looks like it's an organized activity.
What are we doing about the panhandlers, are you asking? As far as, not my unit.
This is, I think this is going to be our last question. You can talk to me when we break if you have something you really want to talk about. This is Lieutenant Ruben Castilla. Ruben is one of our watch commanders who works evenings here, and oftentimes he and his officers under his command respond to panhandling types of calls and whatnot. So, Ruben?
Real quick, panhandling, I think it's considered as a freedom of speech by some court, one of the high courts. So we have to, like the chief said, we abide by those rules and laws. So as long as they're not interfering with traffic, and it's actually, there's a code that says if there's a sidewalk provided for you, you should use the sidewalk to panhandle or to ask for money. So again, if they're doing that, you see them Gideon, those who've been around know it, and they'll get on the sidewalk and walk up. The second they walk out onto the street and start interfering with the traffic, it becomes a safety issue and it becomes a violation. So that's when we can address the issue. But large groups, I know that we had an issue with some groups that showed up and they said they were from Florida to help the homeless children. When they called the church, actually one of our lieutenants called the church, that they had no idea who these people were. So there's some scams out there, scammers. So again, we try to do the best we can by going out and saying, hey, warn you, hey, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this. And then the problem consists, you all call us, and we come out and deal with the issue that way. So, thank you.
Ruben, when you go to patrol and they spot a patrol car coming, of course they take off. Do you ever go out with an unmarked car?
I drive one, so it's fun to come up to them, just open your window and say hello, and then they know. I say most of the folks you know that you see out there, they've had dealings with us. I'm not jumping out of the car yelling at someone, hey, you know, and they say sorry, and then walk off.
So thank you very much for coming. We'll be around for a few minutes. Supervisor Anderson, did you want to close out? Call me if I can help, but I'll be around for a few minutes if you want to chat more.
Thank you. Let's thank all of our police officers here tonight with a big round of applause.